Rob Sand is here. He is running for state auditor. Come on up, Rob. Thank you for being here.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
We'll see how this works up here. I usually don't like using a microphone. I'm used to walking around in the well in the courtroom because I've been in the Attorney General's office the last 7 years. We tried about 42 cases all around the state. Haven't had any in Jackson County, but I've been nearby. I had a trial in Elm-McKee, a couple matters in Dubuque, that sort of thing. And I'm from just up the little road a little ways in Decorah, born and raised up there. So if you actually want to know one of the reasons why I'm running for state auditor, you can see it with your own eyes in Decorah. You go up Highway 52, go over to the east end of town, and in Wold Park you'll see the Decorah Skate Park. I spent 2 years when I was in high school getting that skate park built, and it changed my perspective on life and what I wanted to do. Thank you. Before, I thought I wanted to be a computer programmer. Thought I was going to study computers. And then after that I decided I wanted to do public service work. Thought that was going to be in the form of being a teacher. Ended up going to law school. Still not sure that that was a good decision, but here I am. Has everybody been able to hear the other speakers okay without the microphone? Sounds a little off. All right.
So I've been in the Attorney General's office the last 7 years, and I've prosecuted most of Iowa's public corruption. So if you remember the Iowa Film Office tax credit scandal, I've prosecuted all those criminal cases. More recently, did you hear about the guy that fixed all those lottery jackpots all around the country? Yeah. So I led that investigation and prosecution. And what I have seen in 7 years has shown me a lot of the state auditor's office, because they do Iowa's public corruption investigations. So they're doing step 1, and then they hand it to me for step 2. And I'm tired of looking at mistakes. They're easily preventable, right? CPAs have an important function in state government. They do very important work. I mean, we couldn't get it done without them. Where is Arlene? I'm looking around for her. Hi, Arlene. This Arlene, not that Arlene, right? I love it. We've got 2 Arlenes here. That's great. So CPAs are very important. They do an important function in not just county government, but state government as well. The issue is when you have only CPAs working in an office like the state auditor's office, because they are also responsible for these law enforcement investigations. They have no one with any law enforcement experience in the office. So they finish these investigations, they spend weeks, months working on them, and then they send them to me, and sometimes I just set them in the garbage, because they've made such basic mistakes that they have no usefulness in a court of law. I like to say that the state auditor's office of only CPAs is like a football team with 11 quarterbacks on offense. You can have Hall of Famers and it doesn't matter, you're going to lose every game. So, that got me interested in running. Let me tell you another thing that did. I sat down and I read the code, because I try to be a good student even though I'm not in school anymore. That office is also supposed to do efficiency recommendations. So every time they send an audit to the county, or they send an audit to Maquoketa, the city, they're supposed to have performance aspects of it, telling them ways they can save taxpayer money. Let's see, who is on our board of supervisors? Was it Larry?
Yeah, Larry.
Did you see any performance recommendations in the last audit? You did. That's good. They're okay. No, it's actually good. Any big ticket ideas? No. Now, let me ask you this. Were they more control-oriented, like, hey, you should have one person count the money and another person?
Being a small county, what we run into is we don't have separation of duties.
That's right.
And that's the one basic.
That's right.
There's really no way to fix it, but
so
that's what you're saying.
So what Larry's talking about is something they do literally in every county. Don't feel bad, Larry. It's not just Jackson County. It's in all of them. And the idea is you got to have separation of duties. One person counting money, another person depositing it, right? That's a recommendation, but it's not an efficiency recommendation. You're not going to save money. It's not a more efficient way to do it. It's just to prevent theft, right? But they're not making any performance recommendations. They're not doing anything to try to help Maquoketa or try to help Jackson County actually save your tax money. That's crazy. Now, a piece of that might be laziness, but let me give you another suggestion. And this is why I think this office is more important, state auditor, more important now than it ever has been. It never used to be that the idea of good government was controversial. I think it is now. There is a major political party here now, today, whose only organizing principle is the idea that government is always bad. And that no matter what the question is, the answer is less government, right? So if you belong to that party, and you see a way to save taxpayer money, aren't you going to think twice before you go ahead and do it? Because if you make government better, well, then maybe government's not so bad after all, is it? We've got to have a Democrat in this office. Because we need... Because we need someone in there who actually wants to make government better and show people the government has a role in society. Our campaign is going great so far. I too, like Todd, will take your money. I will. No disrespect to Joe. I like the passion. But I too have got to get my message out there, and I can't door knock statewide. We are doing really well so far. We've actually raised a record amount of money for this office. And Joe, you'll be happy to hear we did it through grassroots. Right? We had only... We've had over 1,000 contributors since I launched my campaign in the middle of November. We are doing well. We have Acting Lieutenant Governor Adam Gregg asking big Republican donors to dig deep to support my opponent because he says she's going to have a tough re-election. You bet she is. So again, my name is Rob Sand. Everybody please take your phone out right now, pull up Facebook, and like Rob Sand, okay? That's actually the way we do it for free, Joe. That's how we can get some free advertising.